right, good day, Power Mental Performance family. Got a special treat for you. We are going to talk to Saana Koljonen, and I hope I pronounced that name right. I've heard it pronounced a couple different ways. But she is a former professional volleyball player, played professionally in France and Germany, and then was on Finland's national team. So we're going to bring her in. I'm going to invite her in for this conversation. You don't want to miss this today. So let's go ahead and add her in and get her going. All right, she is invited, so we'll see if we get her in. So we're going to talk about a few things today that I think is really important for high performance. Her story is unique. In fact, if you follow her on Instagram at Mind of Saana, Saana, you'll see back on a post she did January 12th, where she talked about her journey through professional volleyball, playing for Finland's national team. It's amazing. The amazing part of the story is overcoming adversity, coming back from injury, illness, and sickness, kind of thinking of herself as an underdog. And so, she has kind of this mindset. Saana,
Hello.
how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm setting you up. So I was just kind of talking to the audience a little bit about your background and getting them warmed up and getting them ready. So when you were able to join, we could kind of hit the ground running. So
Yeah, sounds
just
great.
going to make a quick adjustment here on the camera.
Same.
There we go. And so I see you great. I hear you great. And
Okay.
so how you doing today? Tell me a little bit about how you're doing today.
I'm doing great. I went to sleep 8:15 last night. So
Good.
I think that set up me for a good day for today. And then I have been doing a little bit of meditation and yoga this morning. So one of those mornings where I have been focusing on recovering than working. So doing absolutely amazing.
Yeah, recovery is so important. I mean, sleep is where you grow. So that's awesome.
Yep.
Hey, pronounce your last name for the audience. I pronounced it
Oh,
earlier, but I think I butchered it. So I just want you to, it's Saana, and then how do you say your last name?
Koljonen.
Koljonen. Okay, I was
Yeah.
kind of close. My
Yeah.
last name's Kitchen, like in a house, and you'd be surprised how many times people butcher that. And I'm like, it's just like in a house. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Hey, so for the audience, what I want you to do is tell them a little bit about your background. I'd really be interested to hear how you got into volleyball. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about, some of the struggles and the adversity and how you overcame those things in terms of your performance through playing professional volleyball and being on Finland's national team. So just for a little bit about yourself for those on the call.
Yeah. So I'm from Finland, and that's where I started playing volleyball because both of my parents were coaching. So then I got to the gym when I was at, I don't even know, 4 or 5. So that was kind of my destiny to be playing volleyball. And it's a very small town where I'm from. So there was not a lot of options. I did a little bit of gymnastics too, but absolutely loved volleyball and just kept playing it because I loved it. It wasn't about knowing that I will be a professional volleyball player. It was just more about that I loved the sport and I just wanted to get better at it. And that was my focus for a long time.
Okay. So the reason I reached out to you was because back on January 12th, you posted this incredible post on your Instagram account, and you basically entitled it "Mediocre to the National Team."
Yeah.
And as I read through a lot of that post, you talked about I was giving 100% effort. I wasn't seeing the results I wanted. The mental and emotional struggle of just the hard work and the grind, at times even getting injured a lot along the way, and why am I getting injured? And just almost like this big roller coaster of mental and emotional struggle. You even refer to yourself as an underdog, and you kind of carried that mentality with you. So why did you feel like you were mediocre or like an underdog coming into your career with volleyball?
Yeah, I think that stems back from, so in Finland there's these regional teams. So you play for your club team, and then the best ones from those ones will get to play to the regional teams, and then we have I think 6 different regional teams. And then from those, the people are selected to junior national teams. And I never got to be part of those. And I think that kind of like was something that happened like when I was a teenager, and I realized like, okay, I'm not good enough for that level. It wasn't like a super big disappointment like in that moment. Obviously on like when I didn't get to those teams, yes, but like it wasn't something that I realized like how much it actually just bugged me, like it, like how much I was carrying that mentality and like took it as part of my future as well. Like, okay, I guess I'm just not that like even regional level player, or let alone like a national team level player. So I'm just going to be something else. And I don't know what that else was. So then I just kept playing, but I think you could see at some point that I got frustrated with it, like that I put all the work in and I wasn't there. I didn't get to even try out to the national teams. And it was hard for me, even though like now when I'm looking back, like maybe that was just justified. You know, like maybe that was just fine that I wasn't that level. It's okay. But how I felt about it was just so strong. Like, okay, I'm never going to be seen. And it doesn't matter how much work I do. I need to do double the work in order to even like being granted a chance to be trying out for a team that I think I could go for if I would just, you know, get a chance. And I think that's how we started.
Okay. And so your journey through playing for Finland and then playing professionally in Germany and France, again, you relate this kind of roller coaster of I'm putting in the effort, I'm working hard, you know, the conditioning, the strength and conditioning, all the things that in your mind, skill development, watching film, comparing yourself to others in order to get to that next level. But then it wasn't happening for you. And
Yeah.
so, what, you know, there's a lot of people that are going to see this that feel the exact same way. I'm working hard. I'm doing everything I know to do. I'm pushing. They may have that underdog mentality
Yeah.
as well, and they're grinding it out, but they're just not getting the results that they want. What was the shift for you that when, and those are dark moments for a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a emotionally rough place to be.
it is.
How did you kind of come out of that? And what were the things that kind of came into place for you that kind of helped you pull out of that, and where you just detached yourself of wanting those results so bad and just almost kind of enjoyed volleyball again?
That's a very good question. I think that it was just because like I got so unhappy at some point. I was like, this is not worth it anymore. Like if I'm this unhappy with this sport, why am I even doing this? And I think many people and athletes are in that space where they at some point they just questioning like, why am I even doing this? If
Yeah.
I'm not getting the results and I'm also sacrificing so much, what's the point? So I think that was one of those things where I just totally stopped. I was like, what is the point? And then I was exploring that like internally, like what the point is for me to like be trying to get to my best level, what that actually means. And then real like kind of exploring different options around it. Like what is something that is weighing me down? What is something that I actually really want from this sport? And once I realized that, I was like, I have been going about this pretty wrong. Like there's nothing about that comparison, for example, that would help me out. Or like my obsession about the goal that I should be going towards. Like I need to find a calm, happy place within myself in that spot where I'm right now at, and trusting that like once I am in touch with that part of myself, I am calmer, I am happier, I can do things from that space rather than thinking like I'm inadequate in some ways and grinding from that negative space, because
Yeah.
that will never be fulfilled. So that was little by little I started like shifting this mindset around it, but it's not easy because there's so much that conditioned thinking around it. Like when there is somebody else who comes to the circle and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not as good as she is. Like, so then going back to just like trying to distance yourself from those thoughts and have time to respond rather than just like react with a negative emotion about that. Like, oh my God, I'm back in the place where I feel dark, alone, not enough. Like just, yeah, being able to create space between that thought and not letting it like create that feeling that will then overwhelmingly make you feel bad about yourself was something that was so helpful and valuable for me to learn.
So is it kind of the old saying, like I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and it was just kind of like I just can't do this anymore, and that was kind of the shift, and then from there it sounds like you kind of figured out what your mindset should be from
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah, exactly that way. And also knowing like that I cannot do it this way. Like if I want to get to my highest level, this cannot be the way to go there. There was some realization about that, like this way of thinking and feeling about myself will eventually be destroying me before I could ever get there. Because I knew that I will need to be like happier, so that I want to do more, that I want to be this person who can maybe reach that level where I wanted to go. And then, yes, so I didn't want to be sick and tired anymore of like feeling that small.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It sounds like a trap in perfectionism where
Yeah.
like it's never enough. I have to be perfect in order to, accomplish this goal. If things just aren't a certain way, then I'm never going to get to where I want to go.
Yeah.
Um, so for those that may be trapped in that perfectionism, what's like your advice to those athletes that are feeling what you're feeling and maybe going through what you went through?
I think really asking from themselves, like, is my way right now giving me the life that I want to live, or the feelings that I want to feel in my life? Because once you realize like this is not how I want my life to feel like, then I think that's the first realization that you can have in order to change it. But as long as you're just like okay with it and just being like, this is how life should be, it should be about hard work, and like it shouldn't be easy, it shouldn't feel good, then you're not going to change it. You're just going to keep doing that. So I think that will be my first advice, like really asking yourself if this is the way you want to live and this is the way you want to feel about yourself,
Mm,
and
that's
honestly answering to that
Yeah,
and
that's
being very.
powerful. You can achieve great things, but like if you're miserable in the process, man, so when you get there and you get what you want, it's hollow and it feels so shallow.
Yeah.
And then when you reach it, you're like, "Ah, it's still not giving me the feeling that I want." So it's kind of shifting to more of a process approach to it, a healthier mental, emotional way of doing things. In your journey, were there people that helped you? Were there people that kind of came in and out of your life to kind of help you get to where you wanted to go? And if so, talk about that. Who helped you along the way?
Yeah, that was one of the other big realizations. At some point I was like, I cannot do this alone anymore. I really realized that like I've tried so hard and I am still stuck in that same level or like the same spot,
Mm,
like despite the effort. So I knew that I need more people and I cannot do this alone. I just absolutely cannot. Like, so then knowing that, I first hired a nutritional therapist to help me out with like my very twisted relationship with my body and eating that was absolutely holding me back.
mm,
At that time I didn't think that I would even have something called eating disorder. He made me realize like, no, I actually have been battling with one for 6 years.
wow.
Yep. It's just one of those things in athlete or like in sports world often that we see that, or like at least with my mindset, it was like if I'm not anorexically skinny, I cannot have an eating disorder.
Wow.
And that's just not true. Like there's so many different versions of it. So then understanding that and then helping me, like him helping me out with that was number one. Like he absolutely helped me so much. Then later on, yes, I had a sports psychologist as well to help me out, just like with my mind and understanding my perfectionism, the values that I like, how do I want to live my life? So those were like the people that I
Yeah.
hired. And then there were a couple coaches who were also very important in my process, who made me understand so much more about the process. And then teammates, some teammates that were like there for me and understood like what was I going through, and then just being able to talk when I felt like it was very important.
Yeah, what do you think kind of made you hesitant? Was it just maybe a blind spot to reach out and get that kind of assistance, or was it like I'm an underdog, um, I've got to do this on my own. If I'm not doing it, like, was it hard to maybe go into that space a little vulnerable because it's like if I ask for help, then I'm not as strong as I think I am? What was kind of what was holding you back maybe unknowingly just from asking for help or reaching out to others?
Yeah, I think that's one of those. Like, I just always thought that I can go about things alone because I've done that before. Like there is this like I'm strong when I do this, and I can like figure it out. Like I can grind it out, and I think that's one of those like just being a little bit stubborn. Is that, oh my, okay, now we're good. My
Yeah, we're good.
screen just got black for a second, but all good.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of those that I just, yeah, found out that I have been too stubborn. Like nobody achieves greatness alone. Like exactly how the saying goes, and then knowing like, well, I have been exactly that person who tried to do that and it's not working. So let's just take a look in the mirror and do something else. Let's try something different.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, it's I always like it. One of the things that I've posted a couple times is like on the road to achieving greatness, one of those keys to help you get there is what I call relational support. And it's exactly what you talked about. And I always use the analogy of like a boxer or like a fighter that has a corner. So there's people in their corner. And if you think about even on a team, we've got skill development coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, you've got physical therapists, you have all these people, sports psychologists, health and nutrition, you have all these different people that play different roles. And they're the ones that help you kind of get to where you're going. But it takes us to kind of be vulnerable and just say and admit, I need the help and reach out
Yeah.
and grab them. So um, now part of your story too is you fought injury and you fought illnesses at different times and you bounced back from those and continued playing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to those that may be struggling with injury and are on that wave, like, I just keep getting injured, or why does this keep happening to me? And sometimes, look, I've been there too. It's like, why am I keep getting injured with fill in the blank injury, or why does this always happen to me? That seemed to happen to you a little bit in your career. And how
Mm-hmm.
did you push through it? And how did you respond to it to where you could overcome that kind of mindset?
Oh, this is a big topic. There's so many injuries, and I think my mindset around that has been changing a lot. Like the first ones were exactly kind of like that. I felt like I'm the victim of that injury and the environment and the circumstances, and always feel like, okay, now I'm getting a little bit better, and then I get injured, so I'm just kind of like drawn back again where I started, and now I see everybody else going, like higher and better and faster and stronger everywhere else, and now I see myself again to be the underdog, and now I need to like catch up with them. And I think that's always how we feel when we are injured, because we
Yeah.
are kind of like behind from the plan that we had for ourselves, but that's not necessarily the only right plan.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I want to usually ask from athletes who might get injured. Like, do you feel like you're the victim of that circumstance, or can you use it in some other way? Like, can you see your responsibility maybe causing that injury and not blaming it on others? Yes, there are accidents that happens like in my life too, that I know like, okay, that was something that I could never affect anyway. But then there are many injuries where I can see like, well, if I would have stopped the moment where I started feeling pain in my knee or in my whatever ankle, then I could have stopped it from happening. But because I had this mentality of like, I need to be the hardest worker or like train extra, then I cannot let go of that image, because it's so much more important for my self confidence and my existence in the sports world. So I think also realistically that like my subconscious belief about myself to be the hard worker was creating a pattern that manifested itself in different injuries and leading to like for me to repeat like overuse injuries, even though I felt like, why is this always happening to me?
Yeah.
Well, it is because like I was putting so much work in and I didn't actually really heal my mind about like how I felt about myself.
Mm.
And I think that was the most important thing that I did later on in my career that was helping me out so much. So I could
Man,
say no when I needed to.
yeah, that's a powerful statement. You had to have the right mindset around the injury in order to recover well from it. So
Hmm.
if it, thinking in terms of how you described yourself early on, I'm an underdog. I've
Yeah.
got to prove myself. So when those injuries do come, it's like, the mindset is like, I'm just an alpha and I just push through it, and I'm
Yeah.
strong, bigger, faster, stronger than everybody else, or I have to be. And you
Hmm.
just keep pushing, pushing, pushing. One of the things I found about injury is for me, um, it makes me reflect on certain things about my sport, in
Yeah.
powerlifting. It makes, for example, like just something as simple as technique that, if you have a certain injury, you can't lift as heavy. So then it forces you to do physical therapy and rehab and actually pay more attention to different form and technique. And then you start seeing things that you never saw before,
Yep.
with in the process of making your technique and form better, that are like, oh, it's no wonder I got injured because I was doing this, this, and this. And finally
It,
the house of cards come down,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you're like, so I think, for those that may be struggling with injury, it's an opportunity to learn something different. It's hard pulling those reins back, and it's hard
Hmm.
slowing down, and you feel like you're going backwards so fast. But in those moments, if you can just stay the course, you do learn a lot of good things in the process about yourself. It could be something as simple like, even in volleyball, perfecting your serve when you're injured, because it forces you to focus on different things related to your sport from a skill development perspective.
Yeah,
Um, so that's been my experience, with injury. I hate it. Like, I passionately hate
me
it,
too.
but it slows you down, and you have to kind of go into a curious mindset and a learner mindset. Like, okay, what can I learn through this?
Hmm.
And then have the optimism and faith to believe that, you'll move past it and things will get better.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts, in the area of kind of overcoming injury?
Yeah. One very vital piece is that, like, can I let go of the image how I wanted this to be?
Yeah.
Because, for example, like one like specific event that taught me that was when I played in Germany and I had a piece of bone floating inside my patella tendon. So obviously that was creating a lot of pain. And then I still played through that season. And so we developed another like physical program for me, obviously, because I couldn't do like normal squats and cleans that I used to do. And I was so upset about it. I was like, no, okay, now I cannot be a good player anymore if I cannot do those things that made me good.
Yeah.
So then they created a program for me, and I had to let go of the idea that I cannot be, like that I somehow should or could not be good if I would not be doing squats and cleans. So I needed to let go of the idea that this is the way that it should be, and then just openly trying the new way and adapting to that, and giving that way a chance to succeed as well. And
Yeah. It's
because of
powerful.
like those little like shifts in our mindset and our thinking, then I was able to see so much more things that were actually better for me or working so much better. But it had to be first me letting go of the idea that, okay, it's not my plan anymore, and it's not the thought that I, or like, let's say the way or my habits that I used to be, like used to make me
Yeah.
successful. So then I need to let go of that and just be open to see what else can happen for me from this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. The mind's, it's for any athlete playing at any elite level. We hate that it has to get to that point in order to have the mind shift.
Yep.
So that's why I really appreciate what you're doing now. Now that, you're moving into different things with your life, and coaching people in terms of performance. So talk a little bit about now. So you've got this awesome life history, just great levels of performance, elite volleyball player in the world, taking all of that stuff. Now, how are you helping other athletes, and how are you helping other people?
I'm helping them through the transformation that I have gone through, because that's something I can teach. Like if I would have been, let's say, like the top level player from the day when I was born, I don't know how to teach that. But like in order for me to struggle and hit all of these walls, but finding ways to like get over them, then these are the ways that I'm now like wanting to teach for other athletes. Like, no, you don't have to be an underdog. No, you don't have to overtrain. No, you don't have to count calories, or no, you don't have to push and grind 24/7 in order to be successful.
Yeah.
Like I know this. And then it just gives me so much joy. I feel like all my struggles, like they say, like from mess to message, or from wounds to wisdom. So I think those kind of like are very true in my life, because I can use those experiences. And obviously, like I've been also reading around those times where the struggles were happening and what, like, where did they come from? Because it's not only like just giving a band-aid about that, like one little thing that happens and okay, now you get over it. But if you have a tendency to repeat that pattern, then we need to know the cause. So that has been like, I don't know, even know, so interesting for me to like learn how our subconscious mind works and how it actually brings the belief about ourselves to the surface in different ways, in different environments, and how can we actually heal that is just so powerful stuff that I feel like I am on the path that I was meant to be.
That's awesome. Yeah, when you feel like you're living out your purpose, it's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so for most that don't know, now you're living in Denver, Colorado, and so you're coaching volleyball. Tell us a little bit about, you know, what you're doing now and what your life looks like now that you're in the States living in Denver.
Yeah, so I moved to Denver when I got very badly injured and I had to quit my career before I wanted. So then I knew that I needed some distance to that playing world that happened in Europe. So then I moved to Denver because I got a volunteer assistant job at the University of Colorado, Boulder. So then I got to like be with volleyball without being the player. And even though that was hard, I realized during that year that I do want to focus more on the mindset and then the emotional well-being of the athletes, and just that they would feel whole, so that they will actually be able to express the level that they have within themselves already. And it's not only the technical details that matter, it's so much more. So then I started working, just with the mindset of with people, different athletes, got my company together when COVID hit. What a great timing. But but that's when I started as an entrepreneur. And now I also coach volleyball on the side more. So I flipped it, which was exactly like very, very good for me, that I coach volleyball on the side, 17s, and then full time with the mindsets of athletes.
That's great. I love it. So as we kind of round out our time today, for those athletes that are, let's say they're high school athletes, maybe wanting to go to the next level and play, you know, their sport in college, or maybe it's the college athlete wanting to go professional. In terms of them helping hit their goals and achieve what they want to achieve, what would be just some basic pieces of advice you would give them to make the journey better?
Maybe focusing on really finding yourself first, so you know what you want and why do you want to go professional? Why do you want to be, you know, on that next level? Because once you know your why, it's going to be so much easier to see, like, kind of like build the journey for you and let that vision pull you instead of like let the fear push you.
Oh man, I like that. I like that. Let the vision pull you, but don't let the fear push you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strong. All right. Well, Saana, I appreciate your time. This was great. I hope that as people watch this today and in the future, that they really take to heart the advice you've given, because you've lived it, been there, done that, got the battle wounds. For those that may want to know more about you and get in touch with you, how could they do that?
I'm most active on Instagram, so at Mind of Saana, you can find me, and I promise to be answering if anybody have any other questions or just wants to spy or follow along the journey of entrepreneurship. Like, I'm sharing all the experiences still from my athlete life that I'm processing and feeling like they have some value to people. So I'm pretty open about those, because I thought I just really think like the more open I am about them, then somebody resonates and can find some hope in the place where they might not see hope right now.
Yeah.
So
Great.
in Instagram it is.
Oh, great. That sounds great. All right. Again, thank you for today. It was great talking through all this, and I know you're going to help a lot of people. So with that, I just want to wish you a great day, and thanks again.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time, Roger. This
Yep.
was fun.
Yeah, it was. All right. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.